Good evening. Hashtag my global family. This is Dre Abeita, coyote walking in this world and real life Esleto Pueblo superhero. Proud two-spirited indigenous warrior and also a spiritual leader of Coyotes Lodge, House of Spirituality, Critical Race Theory, and Medical Marijuana. We are here tonight with my global family, and it is a huge celebration with a packed house with my sisters from around the world. Thank you so much for joining us for hashtag Coyotes Global Superhero Family Podcast Episode 8, hashtag Dream Big, lighting the way for 2022. I am always honored to be your Coyote host, Dre Abeita, hashtag Coyote Walking in this world, and I am joined tonight by Dr. Rijasoa Andriamanana, my amazing sis, Neritza Díaz-Cruz, my amazing sis, Liah, my amazing sis, Kyla Charlee, my other amazing sis, Carolynn Fincke, and also I have to give shout outs, family, for the first time making her debut, my warrior niece, Ashlee Miles. So, family, let's go ahead and get you introduced to all of our amazing superheroes. Who would like to get us started? If you would like to just share your name, affiliations, any shout outs and accolades, family, we would love to get to know you a little bit better. Who's starting us off?
I can go first. Hello, everyone. I'm Liah N from Indonesia. I was a master's student at the University of New Mexico from 2015 to 2017, the year I graduated, and then after that I came back to Indonesia. And I've been working as a lecturer at a local university in my hometown in North Sumatra, Indonesia, for over 5 years now. And I'm a Fulbright scholar, and I'm currently working on applying for a scholarship for a PhD program. Thank you.
I'll go next. My name is Carolynn Fincke. I am the Chief Communications Officer for the Abeita Consulting Group. I'm also a volunteer at Enchantment Chihuahua Rescue. And that's about all I have. Oh, and I'm a substitute teacher for Rio Rancho Public Schools.
So I will go next. My name is Neritza Díaz-Cruz. I am a doctoral candidate at the University of New Mexico. I am also a high school teacher in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, I can go next. My name is Rijasoa Andriamanana, and I am an assistant professor at the University of Madagascar, where I teach English for business. And I graduated in 2019 from the University of New Mexico, where I met with amazing people, especially my sis Neritza and Andrea. And I have heard of Liah as well, and I saw Kyla on this webcast, and welcome with Andrea's Liz again here, and it's great to see you all, and I hope you enjoy this podcast. Thank you.
Thank you, sis. We're having a little hard time with your internet, though. It's probably, are you traveling?
I am at church, actually. I had to go to church because I didn't feel well. So.
Or thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Who would like to go next? I think we have Kyla and Ashlee left.
I'm Kyla.
And she is our
Tech person. I don't know.
you're our Chief Operations Officer, right?
Oh, shoot. I forgot about all that.
It's been a while, family. We haven't had a consulting group / community foundation meeting in probably about 4 months now. We've been kind of, well, no, maybe like 3 months, but it feels like been a while. But yes, Kyla is our amazing Chief Operations Officer for both the Abeita Consulting Group as well as the Abeita Shared Community Foundation. As Carolynn serves as the Chief Communications Officer, and I serve as the Chief Executive Officer. And all of our amazing participants here are all officially Abeita Consulting Group consultants. And so don't forget, family, we have a wealth of information, experience, and we are available for workshops and speaking engagements as well. Don't forget to check out our website at abeitaconsulting.com. My amazing warrior niece is now going to go ahead and introduce herself.
Hey everyone, I'm Ashlee. I'm a student studying in Denver. I'm studying business management with a specialty in softwares, and I'm pre-med and studying biology. I'm also getting a certificate in environmental stewardship for Indigenous lands. I'm excited to be here.
Yay! All right, family. As we start our podcast, we are going to go ahead and offer a prayer. If you are not a spiritual or religious person, that is perfectly fine. When we pray in Coyote's Lodge, we are simply talking to our ancestors and the loved ones who have gone before us. Dear Gammy, it's your favorite trickster coyote grandchild. I am up to my old tricks again with my sisters, and you know we're up to no good, but the results are going to bring about humanizing change. Dear Gammy, you were the original warrior woman, and you paved the way for our family with safety, security, and your voice. And I know the reality. You got fired more times than you got hired. You took no crap from anyone, and sometimes that put you in a hot spot or two. But Gammy, you taught the women in our family to be independent, to be fierce, to be that mama bear, mama tiger, or whatever in between that we needed when we needed her. So thank you. Thank you for instilling in me the power of love, the power of voice, and the power of standing your ground when we needed it. Because 2022 is a brand new year, and the challenges have not gone away. Our lives are still confusing, and the security we thought we had is definitely disappearing. So Gammy, instill in us that warrior spirit. Allow us to be strong when we need to. Even when we feel we can't, allow us to reach out and be wise enough to ask for help. To feel no shame when we need to rely on others. To feel unburdened when we ask the partners, our siblings around us, our community members for that help when we need it. Because in reality, Gammy, you instilled in me the idea that it takes an entire community to thrive. All of our children, all of our family members deserve that respect and dignity of support, comfort, and love. So Gammy, I'm asking for that stubbornness, that dedication, and that power of love to please envelop us, to bring us comfort, and to bring us guiding hope in this brand new year. Dear Papa, I miss you, Papa. You helped me find that the male in me can be kind and can be soft, can also be fierce. That the masculinity in our world is not defined by blind respect, but is actually found in the power of leading, protecting, caring for, providing for, and advocating for your family. So Papa, help us in this time of 2022 to redefine patriarchy, redefine masculinity, and allow our men and boys to find hope, to find love, and to find joy in who they are. All of our families need healing, and it starts with accepting and loving each other and ourselves. To my great-great-grandpa, Pablo Abeita, true revolutionary and a Salado Pueblo statesman, dear sir, you walked with presidents, you influenced policy, you got us our land back, and by all of the ancestors, your great-great-grandchild will be the president, will make the laws, and will force the change that we need in this world. Allow me to help our global family grow. Allow us to nurture the new leaders like my amazing warrior niece Ashlee here tonight, who is literally our hope right now and fights for the rights of her fellow students at her own university. Allow for our elected and our appointed officials to understand that as leaders, we serve. And the power and the privilege that is given unto us is earned by our hard work, by our open-mindedness, and by leading through example of what is possible. So allow our leaders to open their hearts and help us, because change is needed. COVID has taught us that the systems that control our lives still dominate us, and we need new hope. To all of our ancestors, our aunties, uncles, cousins, adopted in blood, and those who have gone before us, send us your blessings in this new year as we, your modern warriors, as aunties, community members, new leaders, youth, and all walks of life, we stand forth as witnesses as we continue to walk the path you started for us.
Amen.
Whew. All right, family. With those intentions sent out to this universe, may ancestors hear us. We are going to go ahead and get started with this evening. So as every episode, we are guided by one of this coyote's tenets from my original critical race indigenous-based theory, Walking as Coyote. Tonight, our tenet that we will be focusing on is number 1. From ordinary to extraordinary, human to superhero, scholar to activist, the call for modern warrior superheroes. Be fearless, seek truth, lead, protect, and remember. This is my warrior call. From our communities and families, our superheroes will emerge to fight, lead, and protect all our peoples, like our indigenous ancestors who walked in this world before us, from Crazy Horse Charles Alexander Eastman, Geronimo Chief Joseph, and my great-great-grandfather Pablo Abeita. So too shall our leaders rise. Therefore, our superheroes shall be ordinary people who step up and become extraordinary during times of extreme need. And this coyote has been preaching as if I don't know, COVID is an extreme time of need, if nothing else. As a very young girl, my grandmother was taken to Catholic schools and given to the nuns. When my grandmother would not kneel to pray, the nuns locked her in a broom closet. This is where formal Western-style education begins in my family. I have spent most of my education, like my grandmother, refusing to kneel. So that is what this history of personal education is going to be about. It is going to be about how not to kneel. It is also about the price you pay when you refuse. And this is from Bill Bray, Refuse to Kneel. Dear family, this coyote, along with my amazing siblings from around the world, are literally creating theory. We are publishing, we're using our life experiences, and what you are joining us with tonight is a form of critical autoethnography. So not only is this a podcast, but we are literally creating and collecting data on our daily lives every 2 weeks, along with our global audience. And this coyote is approaching 19,000 followers, family. I was 200 shy the beginning of January 1st. So potentially up to 20,000 followers. You know, this coyote has big dreams. By the end of February, family, I'm gonna have 20,000 followers. It's a form of data. We're literally breaking barriers now by showing that we can, one, create a global family of networks who are supportive and who are sharing their research. Two, we can bring opportunities to each other. And three, that yes, ordinary people's lived experiences matter. It equates data. So family, thank you for letting this coyote introduce a little bit about what we're doing here. And every 2 weeks, we invite you to join us, as well as visiting our YouTube channel at Dre Abeita for all of our old episodes. So our very first segment is hashtag superhero check-in, hashtag battle of the week, and hashtag superhero moment. So in this segment, each person will go around and talk about their battle of the week, which is a low or a struggle that they might have faced, and as well as their superhero moment. So something that they overcome and their highlight of the week, basically. Who would like to get us started today? Rija, I pick you. After you go, if you would like to pick someone, and you can also decline. I'm going to go ahead and allow Carolyn and Ashlee and Kyla to pop in when they would like to. But if the rest of us could go ahead and chime in like we normally would go around. So Rija, Liah, Neritza, and myself will make sure we talk on every segment. Carolyn, Ashlee, and Kyla will chime in as they feel. Rija, I'm tagging you.
Yes. Hi. As I said, I did not feel well. So it is because the last 10 days I had some pain from my breasts, both of them. You know that I had a hysterectomy. That means my uterus and my I were removed. And I still have my ovaries though. And for the last 10 days, my boobs hurt. And imagine that when you have such a, critical part of your body that is hurting. And when we celebrated my birthday on January 5th, then after the celebration was over at around 5 p.m. and I started to feel my boobs again, and I asked my sister to hold it, like to check, and she said, like, there's something in there, you need to go to the doctor. And that switched my mood and I couldn't stand. I called the doctor. I said, like, I need you right now. So I had to see the doctor, and she said, well, I don't feel anything, but let's do the ultrasound tomorrow, which was yesterday. And imagine, you couldn't sleep, and I wasn't really, you were uncertain. But then when I went to the ultrasound, and fortunately there's nothing, no lumps, mastectomy, like it's the hormones, like when they don't find a way to go to your uterus, they go to your boobs, and they really hurt. So I need to go to do some hormone treatment to do it. But so that was scary though, because you think about cancer, you think about, whatever. And that was scary. And the high this week was that, I had my birthday, one more year, 43. So blessed because I survived COVID. I survived the hard time. So yeah, it's a blessing to be alive, and especially to join this podcast and to hear from other people from our global family. So thank you so much. And again, this is Rijasoa from Madagascar. Let's go back to the US now.
I think that means Sis Neritza.
Hello, everyone. So this week has been, so I am a high school teacher. So I would say that my high and my low are involved with my job, which is being a teacher. I think I posted something on my Facebook page. I had a low that turned into a high. So my low is school already started. And I had a situation Tuesday in a classroom that made me kind of reflect on me as a teacher, as an educator, and this past year, right? And I was reflecting and I was thinking that COVID has changed me as an educator because I am not the teacher that I used to be pre-COVID. And the reason I'm saying that is I feel like it is very easy to kind of like give up on some kiddos. And so my low this week was that I realized that there are some things that have changed in my disposition as a teacher, and that my joy in teaching has totally been hurt and damaged. My high is also related to my students. They make every day worth an adventure and worth going to class. So I share with my students that I am doing an elimination diet. So I need to do some things because of my health. And I decided to consult a nutritionist. And so they have eliminated all sugar on me. And I love chocolate. If you know me, you know I love chocolate. And so one of my kiddos, I was telling them, if I get irritable this week, it's not you, it's me. And so a kid shows up the following day and he goes like, Miss Diaz, I have a chocolate in my backpack. And I'm like, really? And he was like, yeah, it is for you. And I'm like, you know, I cannot have chocolate. And he's like, it's okay. Nobody needs to know. I won't tell anybody. You can go ahead and have it here in the classroom. And I'm like, but I will know. He's like, your nutritionist doesn't have to know. And I'm like, but I will know. And just thought that he is so worried and concerned that Ms. Diaz is not having what she loves. He thought about bringing something to the class so that I could have it. So I thought it was really cute. So he kind of like reminded me again of why I do what I do, right? And it's that human connection, it's those relationships that you establish with young people. And that was, so my low was the grind, and my high was my students.
I love that. I love that. I got to be honest, I miss that. I miss my student contacts. Liah, you are up, sis.
Okay, sorry, it's my turn now. All right. I think honestly for me in this past 2 weeks, it's been a mix of high and low. For several reasons. The first reason is I've been telling Andrea that I got accepted in a scholarship preparation program, and the biggest flags that I have about this program is I managed to get the highest score and the post-test of the program, and that's one of the highest thing, I guess, that I'm proud about this past 2 weeks. And the other high is that one of the organization that focuses on educating Indonesian people about the danger and the negativity surrounding the child grooming reaches out to me and ask if I wanted to be one of their consultants, which is another good thing happening to me as well. Yeah, I'm very happy about it. But in the low parts, upon coming back, returning from the program I attended, I experienced I was not very, physically well. I experienced cough, fatigue, or tiredness, congestion, and runny nose. And, considering that Omicron just hit Indonesia, of course, naturally, the first thing I thought about is like, oh my God, do I have the symptoms of, Omicron? And I went right away checking the internet whether I have this, to make sure the symptoms I experience is the same as Omicron symptoms. And it was scary because the list of the symptoms resembles the list of the symptoms that I have. So of course, like, to clarify the suspicion, I went to the doctor and I took the test 3 times and all of them came back negative, which is a good thing as well. So I guess it's, and the doctor told me it's only a seasonal flu, don't worry about it. So, the good thing that comes with it is that I don't have to be separated longer from my kids, because in the time I attended the program, I have to be away from them for like a month for the first time ever. And that was very saddening. And
Remind me, sis, because I keep giving them different ages, honestly.
yeah. So my oldest kid is a boy. He is 2.5 years old now, and the other kid she's a girl. Her name is Hazel. She is only a year, and she relied so much on me on breast. I breastfeed her before the program, but after the program starts, I have to stop giving her. So it was saddening because every time I video call them, she keeps crying. Every time she sees my face, she keeps crying. But, I think it's part of the risk of having a working mom in Indonesia. So at least that's what my mom told me. And then, I think the situation is better now because she's not, she used to be very attached to me. She doesn't want to be carried by another person. So it's not very, how can I say that? Like, it's not very good for me as a working mom because sometimes my job requires me to be away from family, So yeah, I think it's good that she learns how to get along with other people. And I think the last low for me is that the grading sucks. I think every teacher here should know that. Like, grading sucks. Like, you have to catch up with the deadlines and the drama surrounding the miss. Can I have another test? I'm not very satisfied with my test. Blah blah blah, things like that. So, but I think it's all over now, so I'm good. Now, let's go back to the US.
Can I comment something? I think it's so interesting, the comment that Liah made about the risks of having a mom that it's a working mom, right? Because the reality is, Liah, that's how I met Rija. I remember my first semester of the PhD, I talked to my advisor and I was in tears. I felt so guilty. I was feeling horrible because I felt that as my main or my most important job was to be a mom. Yeah. And I felt like I was somehow failing my children because I was not able to be there to do homework. I was in class. I was not there to help with, to go to a school function because I had deadlines myself. And I remember I'm crying and he said, you know what, I'm going to introduce you to one of my other advisees, and she is also a mom and she can talk to you. And I remember that's how I met Rija. And it was the suggestion of my advisor. Well, he wasn't my advisor at the time, but he was the one who told me. And I think we got together in the faculty lounge and Rija was so amazing. Like the way she talked to me, you know, like the way you see her here in the broadcast, like she's like to the point. And let's just, you know, let's do this, right? And I thought was so amazing. So hang in there, you know, you're doing beautiful.
Right. So sorry, Neritza. What helps you feel better about the guilt that you have?
Maybe I should let the master talk about it. Riji, do you have some some words of wisdom?
Yeah.
We should all be taking notes.
Yeah, well, what I say is because at that time I felt that Neritza wanted everything, right? And everything perfect. And I told her, you don't
Right.
have to have things perfect, just do your best and make sure you have time for your children. Sometimes, not every time, I delegate the task to my husband, and I didn't feel any guilt because I had to do what I needed, right? I think that's what I remember. Like sometimes you need to make a choice, but then you don't stick to that choice forever, right? For example, now that you are busy grading, you should focus on grading. And don't, and once it's done, go back and catch up.
Wait, Rija, wait, stop. Can you repeat that? You cut out a minute. Start with, you said, now that you're grading, and we kind of missed you. So go ahead and say that again.
Okay.
So give your advice again because you got cut out. We didn't understand what your advice was. So go ahead and give the advice again.
Okay.
So you're grading now.
Okay. Yes, now that you're grading, and focus on the grading. Don't think about the children. Delegate the task to your husband, and then after the grading is done, you go back and catch up with the children. So there's a time you need to just ignore them for a while, temporary, but then you go back afterwards.
And I think what Rija says, what Rija says is very important because it's true. Like as a mom, society puts some, especially in our cultures, right? There's this image of what mom is responsible for or what mom is supposed to provide. But we forget, right, that there's a reason why we have partners that are supportive, that help us. Like I know that Dre is always talking about how wonderful Neil is, right? But Rija has a wonderful partner. Kikau was amazing when she was working on her PhD. You know, he's always been her support. I have Jose, and Jose was, oh, there he is. Hi, Kikau.
Hey, brother.
Hi.
We missed you.
So I think it's true what Rija said, and she told me, she was very blunt with me. She says, listen, if the dishes don't get done, the dishes don't get done. You know, take care of what you need to take care of, and then rely on your partner to be there with you. And I think me realizing that they're also his children, they're not just my children, they're also his children. Helped me have some conversations that were very honest with my husband about how are we going to do this, right? And so I think that helped me a lot.
Yeah, can I add one more, like just a little bit more? I think I'm way past the phase where I also felt very guilty about not being, I thought at least in the first years of my job as a lecturer, I felt like I'm not a good mom for leaving my kids whenever I have to go to teach and do my stuff in my office. But good thing is that I'm way past that now, because I think the way I see it now is that I'm doing this for my kids. I don't have the chance to be raised by a doctor mom. right? And I want my kids to be, to have like at least one level ahead of me. So the only way I can do this is by, I should do what I should do. And then whenever I'm done with them, I go back to my kids and will be a full-time mom. And the good thing is, I told Andrea a couple of weeks ago that I had a little bit of problem with my partner, but you know we worked through it now, and I think now I realize that he's being a better dad for my kids, which is a good thing, right? So in the time that I attended the scholarship program I mentioned before, he is very amazing in taking care of the kids. My mom even said that, oh my God, he's awesome. He's a great dad. See, I mean, like, it's a progress. If I may be being stuck in feeling guilty about not being a full-time enough mom for my kids, I wouldn't have gotten to this point. And maybe I wouldn't be able to get the scholarship I wanted. So maybe, so the only thing that helps me feel better now is I'm doing this for my kids. So that's it.
I love it. I love it, family. Thank you so much. It sounds like you guys are starting an article right now. Just saying, just saying. And just to recap, family, we are currently on segment 1, which is the superhero moments and the challenge of the week. So we're talking about our highs and lows. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. Would any of our other amazing podcast guests like to go? Okay, I'm
I was
so
gonna
sorry.
go, but I don't have a high.
You don't have a high? Oh, would you like to share your low? We can support you.
Oh, my uncle passed away earlier this week,
I'm sorry.
and my low is probably that. I don't know. I just feel like I should feel more, period. But I'm just tired.
We support you, sis. We're there. And we're here for you.
Oh, I do have a high. Remember all of those Hobonichi planners I got? Like I got like 3. I figured out a use for all of them, and I'm using them, and it brings me a lot of joy. I'm playing around with that and building a house in The Sims right now, actually.
I love it. Finding those moments of joy to help sustain us. Thank you for sharing, Kyla. Carolynn or Ashlee?
I don't really have a high. My low is that I'm changing medicines again, my antidepressants. And, I'm in a low point in where I'm just getting onto the new medication. So I'm not at a good dose yet. I'm just barely getting onto them. So I'm at a low point. And I don't really have a high to share.
Your baby.
Yeah, my dogs are always a high point. That's true.
I love them. They're so cute. Thank you for sharing, sis. I will also check in with you more. I'm sorry, I've been sick. But it's I'll piggyback off of that. My low is that I started the new year sick. So we have an amazing auntie who lets us go to vacation because she lets us use her place. And that's the only way I can go on vacation is free vacations, family. So I was sick, and usually I'm a workaholic. So every vacation I've taken for the last 5 years has been working. And so this was the first one I was not going to work. And then I ended up getting sick for half of it. So I started the new year like sick, grumpy, upset, disappointed, and kind of angry at myself. And then I had an attitude adjustment on Friday. I had to talk to myself. I had to be like, chill out, first of all. You're sick. Who cares? You have the sniffles. The world's not ending. So I had to like do a check with myself and be like, chill. You're making yourself upset. And I think I was depressed, family. And then there's snow. I mean, it's awesome being out there, but it's also 7 degrees outside. You can't go outside. So you're in a place for 2 weeks, but you go out for short periods, it's freezing, which is also why I got sick, because it was 1 degree outside and we walked like a mile and a half home in 1 degree weather. So I started the new year depressed and a little anxiety ridden. And this is my big year, family. I got 4 more months of ARA wrangling a government, and I just spent 10 hours on bylaws, and we have about 40 more hours in the next 2 weeks to work on it. I mean, like, that's how many hours it will take to bring it up to where I need to get it. So I'm kind of having panic attacks on the regular now. So I started the new year. I think I'm up to 4 now. It's what, Thursday? So I'm right there with you, sis. And as far as I don't have any, well, I do have medication snafus. So the other thing, family, is you know that I'm a medical marijuana advocate, researcher, and then I medicate, but I no longer get the euphoric feeling of high. It basically calms my stomach and allows me to not be sick all of the time because my anxiety is so high. And that gets really expensive because you have to keep upping the dose and upping the dose. So I'm about 350 milligrams a day in edibles, which is a lot. So I've been trying to figure out, how can I medicate less with not increasing my panic attacks? So I've halved my medication this week. I also started taking it's like a homeopathic remedy. It's called the detox. I found it at one of the stores in Telluride. And I'm hoping that that will help me to less my dose again of medical marijuana. So this week I went on half edibles from last week, but I also have increased slightly my panic attacks. But I don't know, family, I can't, it's a hard, but it's also an increase of work, because I don't know if anyone else kind of psychs themselves out, but this coyote's like, oh, it's a brand new year. It's the first day. You should do this, and this. And then I got sick. And so, I don't know. It's been a rough start, is what I'm saying, was my low. But the high, I think, is that I'm not sick anymore. And that changes your attitude. Literally today, family, I still have a little bit of sniffle, but I've had 10 hours of meetings with some amazing folks, like 15 volunteers who have come out and helped wrangle the government. And I have you all amazing people, and I have my amazing partner out there. So today, because I feel better and I'm surrounded by people who love me and that I love, and I've had a whole bunch of help this week, I feel like everything's fine. So I guess that's my high, that I realize I'm not alone. Ashlee, I'm sorry, my warrior niece. I am going to call on you.
Okay, so the low for me is probably a research assignment for environmental stewardship for Indigenous lands that I have to do that I really don't want to, just because it's kind of triggering, and it just seems like a lot of work for something that I don't have my whole heart in. And a high would probably be that I'm gonna study abroad and have some new experiences and get out of the country for a while and breathe some new air.
And where are you going on this study abroad, my amazing warrior niece?
I'm going to South Korea. I'm super excited.
Woo, woo. Yep. That's my global family. They are all badasses, making waves basically wherever they go. Woohoo! Thank you so much for sharing with us.
But
All right. Oh, go ahead, Liah.
like, I just gonna say good luck. you know, as a fellow scholarship seeker, I know how it, you know, how it feels when you get to achieve what you want. So yeah.
Thank you. Our next segment, family, is hashtag positionality matters, digging into intersectionality. And don't forget, intersectionality is coming from Patricia Hill Collins, who wrote Black Feminist Thought, and it's articulating the basic fact of life, family. When you have an interaction, what facets, what parts of your identity actually mattered during that interaction? Was it your race? Was it how you're perceived racially? Was it your language, your citizenship, your class? So during this segment, each one of our amazing consultants slash warriors and global family of superheroes is going to reflect on one aspect of their positionality. Rija, I'm going to go ahead and call on you to get us started. We'll go ahead and go in the same order, family, so that way we kind of remember. And I apologize, I can't mute myself because I'm the host and it kind of mutes everyone. So I apologize. If I get allergies, I'm going to just step out. But I love you guys.
Okay, what's our segment again? Sorry, I was switching from outside to inside, and now I have my earphone. Hello?
Yay, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Love it.
Okay.
We're on
So
hashtag segment 2, positionality matters.
Yes. Well, I think it's to have multiple hats at the same time, like being a mom, being a wife, being a teacher, an educator, a professor, a professional development trainer. It really matters to have those multiple identities, because on your birthday you got a lot of wishes, phone calls, people will come and celebrate with you, but especially I think it's your personality of opening up to people, of receiving others, and sharing with others. I think that's the center of it. And when I heard about our struggles earlier, and I felt like I'm not alone, because I used to say, like, how come all the diseases come to me? So I started to have some urinary tract issues, my asthma, my allergies, um, you know, some sort of headache, and now the breasts. And when I hear you guys, I think when you have your struggles, I think this is normal. This is part of life. This is real life. What we see on the movies, those are fake. So sorry, I have to go back to our friends here, Kyla, and others here. We have real life, right? So we have real lives have low and the lows and the highs. So don't worry, you're not alone. Don't feel that you are strange or things are bad on your side, but that's life. You know, in real life, we have the positive, the negative, the highs and the lows. And but keep a good heart, open to people, and use this. I encourage you to use this platform, this opportunity to share with us. We're not going to publish what you said. I mean, like, we're not gossip about you, but this is an opportunity for you to share and to speak up about what you feel. This is a safe, I believe, this is a safe environment to say that. And we are here. Of course, we cannot literally heal you, but we can hear you and we can listen to you. So I think that's a privilege. That's our global identity, sisterhood, I guess. This really matters. And on to the US. This was Madagascar. Thank you.
So I'm gonna add something to what Rija said. Like, I know that physically we cannot heal people, but I think sometimes lending an ear can start that healing process, right? Like what Rija was saying about how sometimes you just don't feel alone, you know, like you don't feel like it's only your struggle. And I'm gonna share something. Rija said a few things that were like, I loved a few of the nuggets that Rija threw in there. So first one is the fact that sometimes I truly believe that by sharing these experiences, there's healing that happens, right? The second thing Rija mentioned at the beginning of her sharing, that she sees intersectionality as a way of opening ourselves to others as well, right? So we open ourselves through our positions. And I wanted to share something that happened today. I had an interesting conversation with an African-American teacher. So I have an interesting relationship, and I think we talked in the last podcast about who gets to define Blackness, right? And who gets to define who belongs to what groups and what are the boundaries, et cetera, et cetera. And today I was talking to a colleague, an African-American teacher, and she was talking to me because she was feeling, she got an email and she was feeling that the person the way the person who sent her the email signed it off, it sounded like, well, we're going to give you the opportunity. If you guys don't take advantage of it, that's on you. We gave you the chance. And I'm talking about it here in positionality because she said something that to me was interesting. She came to me because another African-American teacher told her, Neritza is my sister. And I love the way she thinks. And she needs to get together. She's a sister with us, right? And she came to my classroom and we were talking about it. And she was telling me how difficult it is as a Black female, right? When she's always told that, why are you so defensive? Why are you reacting this way? And why do you overanalyze everything? And she wanted to come to me kind of like she wanted me to see this email and kind of like confirm that she was not crazy. That what she was seeing was the correct interpretation. And I told her that the problem is that, we live in an atmosphere where we have been put one against the other, and in a way that it almost makes us doubt ourselves, right? And the fact that she felt like she didn't know who to go to, and she said, I'm gonna go to Neritza, shows that there are those bridges that we can have with each other. We can help each other out. Not everything is a competition, right? We need to be there for each other, listening to each other. When there's a situation at work, even if you guys don't identify in the same groups, be there for each other, stand up for each other. And I thought that was a beautiful thing, when we open to other people and how we can use our ears, our positions to help others, to validate others, to make them feel seen and make them feel heard, regardless. So I think positionality does matter, in the sense that we can be open to others and use our position to see things from a new way, but at the same time validate the feelings of our fellow, how do you call it? Fellow warriors, I would say. In education, she's my fellow warrior. So it was a good conversation with her. And this is an older woman. And it hurt me to hear her say that, like, why do they always make me feel I'm crazy when I see that they're telling me, well, you got the opportunity, you don't take advantage of it. And she says, when they don't realize that they don't give us the tools so that we can take advantage of the opportunity. Like, we don't really have everything that we need to take advantage of opportunities. So I think she just wanted somebody to hear her, to kind of like tell her, you know what, you're not crazy. It is true. And so the positionalities and the power dynamics that are involved in all of these things are real.
All right. Is it my turn now?
Yes, sis.
Okay. Well, standing up for others, I'm gonna, I think, continue on that. So there is this friend, a close friend of mine, who reaches out to me when I was in the, still away from my campus, still attending the scholarship program. And she talks about how, how stresses she is right now, how depression has been like, interfering most of her job as a lecturer at my university. And she also mentioned that she feels like a failure for not, writing any article, not publishing any article. And I said, like, of course, like being as an educational psychologist, naturally the first thing I say is that, you don't have to feel guilty about not, publishing any article. You've been very productive this semester, just not in the way that we measure productivity in academia, right? And so don't worry about it. And if anyone commented negatively on that, just, ignore them. They don't know anything about your mental health. Your mental health is your responsibility. And that's, you know what's going on with your mind, right? With the, the things happening in your life. So don't worry about them. And a little did I know the
I hate to
statements.
interrupt, but I'm gonna have to go now.
Okay.
Past my time.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you,
Later, sis.
Kyla.
Good night.
Good night. Okay. So where am I at? Oh, little did I know the statements that I made actually helps her argue with one of her, I don't know, like haters in this campus. So she told them that, I've been very like exactly verbatim the same thing I said to her boss, who's supposedly very, demanding and blah blah blah. So upon coming back from the program, she came to me and thanked me personally for, for saying that to her. And I was like, you never hear that from somebody else? I said. She said, no. Everyone actually is more focusing on asking how many articles have you read, have you written this semester, have you published any, and things like that. None of them actually cares enough to ask, how am I mentally? You're the first one who asked me that. I was like, oh my God, that is very saddening, considering like if you're not mentally fit, how can you function normally as well in daily lives, right? Not even like as a lecturer, how can you function normally as a human being if your mental is stressed or depressed, heavily in depressive situation? And so what I'm trying to say is that like my positionality as, someone who maybe have a little bit of better understanding about the importance of mental health in academia has helped not only me personally, but people around me, to better focus on their mental well-being, regardless of what. And of course, in Indonesia, like psychologically speaking, mental health is not something that we talk about in a like how maybe like in a progressive society talk about or at least sees the importance of mental health. We don't really talk about it here. That's what I'm trying to say. So when someone brings up about it, it makes a huge difference. So yeah, I guess I don't know if that answers answers the question, but that's for me.
Absolutely, sis. And just to recap, family, we are currently on segment 2, hashtag positionality matters, in which we focus on one aspect of our identity, whether it be our language, our citizenship, our racial identity, our street race, and we're basically doing a reflection. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to our other 2 amazing podcasts. And again, this is optional. If anyone would like to go ahead and chime in, now would be the time. No worries. This coyote can go ahead and go. I think since the last 2 weeks, I've been reflecting a lot on my two-spirit identity and the privilege that I have with my family and my friends, their love and acceptance of me, but also wealth, right? Like I've talked before about my ability to buy the clothing that reflects my identity, my personality, my likes. But I guess what has been very interesting, amusing, fun, and scary is that I have 2 selves within myself. And I was talking to one of my amazing siblings from around the world today, and lately, on how people negotiate sexual identity. If you do not identify with the corresponding gender identity that's aligning, if you're not heterosexual, apparently, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I've been talking to my siblings who do not identify as heterosexual and or a male in a male body and a female in a female body. So again, there's sexual identity and there's gender identity. And for this coyote, I'm very fluid in my different identities. So I get confused even in my own head. But what I've been talking to my siblings about is I have 2 very distinct selves in my brain, constantly negotiating space. I have female Dre and I have male Dre, and they're literally talking like who's taking point today. And it changes depending on if I'm going into a meeting, if I'm hanging out with certain people, and that's my privilege. I have been managing my two-spirit identity according to who I'm with. Some of my aunties, I have told them I'm two-spirited, but my auntie, like my res aunties, I'll be honest, family, my res aunties may honestly never see male Dre. And I'm trying to figure out, and I was talking to Sis Neritza about this, when I first came out two-spirited this year, I was like, take me as I am, damn it. And I had very hard lines about what I thought I wanted. And as acceptance has softened, as fears have died down from the people around me who have found out that I have not changed, actually, that I always had a male self. It just didn't correspond outwardly in the way that it came out in my personality or who was in charge of Dre at the moment. So I've been reflecting on the privilege of my family and friends and their love in accepting who I am, and just the strangeness of talking to myself. My coyote side and what I call my kitty side is my female side, and my coyote is my first male warrior. But I'm wondering, I'm throwing this out there, family. Do any of my two-spirited siblings feel the same? I've been talking to some siblings and just figuring that out. Or is that just our stream of consciousness? And at any given moment, do we have multiple selves in our brain already negotiating who's taking control? It's just that in my case, there's 2 distinct ones that are completely fighting all the time. It's hilarious, family. Male Dre made me shower the other day because I didn't smell right. Like I had already gotten all ready, makeup and everything. I did not smell right and had to take another shower. And it's those weird idiosyncrasies that I never had before. Like I never cared about ironing in my life until Male Dre decided that was essential and a non-negotiable. I polish shoes now. And I do very distinct habits. So that's my two-spirited. And I'm just asking siblings, two-spirited siblings, are you having similar experiences? Is that unique? Or do we all fundamentally in some level do that sort of identity management? One last opening before we go to our next segment for Ashlee or Carolynn.
I would like to add something. For me in school, it's been like having to learn like with Western culture, having to learn that specific type of way has been such a struggle. And it's hard to like seek out help when, you know, you don't, I forget myself sometimes. Like I'll be in the middle of campus and there'll be a moment where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like really, this is not like how it is at home on the res or with my family. It's super Western. And then I will have to like adapt, and it's hard because that's not how like my brain is wired to think like, you know, white people and to and to learn like them. So I found that like a lot of my peers that are also diverse, they have the same problem where we're just kind of trying to figure out how we can bring in more diversity into our schools, especially universities, because it's hard to get a professor that's indigenous or a professor that's of any other, you know, identity to come and teach us because, you know, you don't get paid very well. There's not like, you know, there's not many openings when a university is not willing to pay or willing to let go of some other problematic professors. And so this is a battle that we've been fighting, but I find it comforting to have my peers alongside me, and we're working on, you know, bringing more awareness to that and talking about it more and making sure that, you know, our faculty knows what we need as students.
Yes. Told you. Warrior niece right here, family. Carolynn, last call on this one before we move on, just in case.
Nope, I'm good. Sorry, frog in my throat. I'm good.
No worries. We are now on segment 3, family, hashtag privilege saved, the lived experiences of educational warriors matter. So family, despite our ups and downs in every situation that we have, we all had the opportunity to pursue education. We've all been supported by our amazing family members to literally pursue our dreams. And in many ways, like this coyote has been talking about how privilege has affected my life and my opportunities. During this segment, we talk about a specific privilege we'd like to focus on. It does not necessarily mean class privilege, although that can be a privilege we can talk about. It could also be racial privilege. It can be citizenship privilege. There are many privileges in the world, but that is what this next segment is. Rija, why don't you go ahead and get us started?
Yes, I would like to share about the application I did for the Department of State. So there will be an exchange program in the US in June 2022. And I already shared this with Andrea. And, you know, the first criterion is that you should not have spent many years in the US. You have limited or no prior experience in the US, which I do then. And then, but the second criterion is you need to be able to add the US studies component to your course. So since when I teach, because only abroad I know is US, and when I teach English, I always give US influenced examples and what I lived in the US. So, but I didn't I didn't have any formal training on it. And I mentioned like, okay, I spent 13 years in the US, but I don't know much about the political thing in the US, the history or the economy. So I was hesitant to apply. And yesterday I got an email and they said, we acknowledge your application and we'll be in touch for the next steps. So then I was not sure if that's a good thing or
Is that a
it's
yes?
just a neutral. We acknowledge the receipt of your application, like we receive your application and we'll be in touch for the next steps. So I don't know if this is a neutral answer, but what I can say is since I didn't shy away from showing off that I was a minister of education in Madagascar, that I graduated from the US, and for some reason, those identities are privileges, right? Especially in Madagascar, if you speak English and if you have a PhD and now I'm an assistant professor. If I don't call you assistant professor, if I call you professor or doctor, so that's already a privilege. And what I would like to share is your educational privilege follows you and helps you in a country like Madagascar, even if I didn't really want to use it, but it's there, right? And it helped me to understand why people with lighter skin didn't think about their privilege. It's there, but they didn't think they don't do that on purpose. So what I mean is like, even if I don't shout out more about my degree and about who I am, it's there and people see it. And those privileges help me, I don't know, shine, but I don't say necessarily shine, but let's say raise from the group, right? Like from the mass. So it will make you different. It helps you stand out of the group. So at least then if I know that I'm interested in the fellowship, um, and I am a strong candidate. So that that is very priceless. So I think that's what I would like to share from Madagascar and on to the US. Thank you.
Oh, and just real quick, family, do not forget our amazing sis, Dr. Rijasoa Andriamanana, is the former Minister of Education for her entire country of Madagascar. I'm just saying, family, of Madagascar, of an entire country. Just saying. I got mad, badass superhero friends, sisters, siblings who are taking over the world. Just saying.
Andrea, could you remind me of the title of this section?
No problem. It is hashtag privilege saves the lived experiences of educational warriors.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about privilege, and I'm stumped this week with this, not because I don't have privilege, but because I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I would share this week. I don't think I have anything to share this week. Maybe if I think about a little bit more, I might be able, but right now I feel like no,
You wanna?
That's okay.
That's perfectly fine. But I was gonna give a quick little nod to your summer, this summer. I mean, you don't have to, but I'm just saying, Rija and Liah are not only the only academic badasses in the house, but you don't
I
have
know.
to pressure. It could be a surprise.
I
Reveal.
will spend since
She's just being
Dre
very
already
humble.
mentioned it. I will be spending the summer in Brazil as part of the Fulbright Haze program.
A part of
So-
what? Excuse me, sorry.
The Fulbright Haze program.
Fulbright, did you say Fulbright?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got another Fulbright in the house, family. Oh yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's gonna be
Exciting.
exciting. It's gonna be
Oh, good
exciting
that's a
to
privilege.
be there.
Yeah.
Woo! I'm sorry, sis. I had to call. I had it. It's just awesome, you guys. I don't know. In
She's
regular
just being
world,
humble.
like Fulbright, in academia world is like it's huge. It's just a big deal. Like to have
Ooh.
2 Fulbright sisters is amazing and ridiculous. And they are basically they're geniuses. I'm just saying they're brilliant, and wonderful, and kind and beautiful, but also literally acknowledged internationally for their scholarship. I'm just saying, family, that Fulbrights are a big deal. All right, we're going back to okay, I think I'm opening it up. Carolyn or Ashlee, would either of you like wait, did we already go to Indonesia?
No.
Going
I can
over
go.
to Indonesia.
Well, for those of you who are new to the program, I'd like to give you a little bit of background story that I've been working on a literacy project for over 5 years now individually. But currently, Andrea, I reached out to a US organization that specifically sent a book to, underprivileged countries like Indonesia. So I managed to get like 2 boxes of, English books and, kids books. And then I went to my hometown to distribute the books. And then I met with several of the moms of the kids that that got lucky to get the books. And they asked me about my educational background. I said I did my undergraduate program in the capital city of Medan, which is the capital of North Sumatra, and I continue my education to the US. And it was like, oh wow, you studied in the US. I was like, it's only UNM. Sorry, I didn't go to Harvard or anything. It's UNM. And they said like,
Harvard of New Mexico. Just kidding.
I know.
Why not be?
It's and they said like, we don't know what Harvard is. You went to the US. That's what matters. It's funny. And I was like, okay, thank you for the excitement. But yeah, I finished now and I'm currently working on, pursuing another education in overseas, hopefully US or, Australia, who knows. I'm still trying, I said. And they're looking at me like I'm a celebrity, like seriously, like I'm a superstar. I don't know. It's weird. It felt weird. And they told me, if you ever, if you ever like have any other information about scholarship, can you pass us the information? Because I really want my kids to be like you. I was like, you have to aim for better. I'm not. Anyway, they're very happy to get the books. And while they're not sure their kids can actually read the stories because it's written in English, they see like a precious, and they treat them like a precious stuff. And that's, I think it's very important. And they promised me to, they promised me to help their kids, and they themselves will learn English just so they can read the books that I distributed. Isn't that exciting? Like, I mean, wow, to me, I'm just supposed to be, I thought I'm just helping them, establish like a more positive literacy behaviors, but at the same time, I'm actually instilling a new interest in another language. Isn't that amazing, right? And so I think one of my privilege that I have as an American graduate is that people buy what I'm saying. Yeah, which is a good thing, of course. Like I advocate for positive things as well, like literacy project, mental health center, and things like that. Which is, and I thought I'm doing this because I am Americanized enough to, to realize the importance of these things. So yeah.
Thank you so much.
Uh,
sis. That is
Can
ridiculous.
I comment on something, please, on UNM?
Okay.
Um, uh, Le- Leila, no, Leah.
Yes.
Yes, I know people from home or from outside of the US when they heard that you studied in the US, and sometimes they wanted to know, for those who know the US, know from the book or from the movies, they thought that you went to Harvard or those big names. And when I tell them about the University of New Mexico, of course, they thought that I was in Mexico.
Right.
And I explained to them that New Mexico is a state and it's a small, let's say, city. It's not as big as New York City, like what they see in the movie.
Right.
So instead of focusing on the ranking of the university, I would like to focus on the people and the cultural things.
Oh
Because
yeah.
remember, the relationship we started is from UNM. And I am so proud of UNM and the people there, because if we went to Colombia, believe me, it's all about competition and all the ranking and all
Yeah.
mostly studies, because we don't have time to pee or to poop.
Mhm.
And with UNM, we had time to do leadership stuff, to do cultural things. I went to almost maybe 80% of events on campus, and to meet people and developed relationship with amazing people like you guys. Do you see the point? Like we are not there. We were not sent there for just like that, but there was
Yeah.
a purpose, right? Like it's the
Mhm.
environment, it's the cultural. I don't know. I love UNM, and I was accepted at two other universities, University of Utah and Washington State University in Pullman, to do my PhD. But I still chose UNM.
Mhm.
For some reason, yeah. So anyway, but then yes, you are right. The US is a US. You have an American degree, nobody can underestimate you in
I know, right?
especially in our country. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Real quick,
Well,
family,
like
we're gonna go ahead and say goodnight to our sis Neritza so she can have a last word before she says goodbye.
okay.
Hey everyone. So the conversation is awesome, but I have to wake up early since I'm gonna be teaching tomorrow morning. But it was awesome to be with you, to be with all of you amazing women, badasses. And thank you for having me. This was amazing. And I enjoyed catching up with you. Leah, it was so amazing to see you.
You're
And
coming
Carolyn.
back. You're coming back in 2 weeks.
Yeah, you have to come back to the next podcast, please, pretty please.
Ashlee and Carolyn, it was awesome to meet you. And Andrea, I love you. Rija, Leah, bye.
Yeah.
Bye,
Bye.
nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Bye.
We're just giving her a hard time, family. She will come and join us when she can. Okay, Leah, sorry, I cut you off so she could say goodbye. What were you saying?
I was just gonna say that I was just being humble when I said, it's on UNM. I didn't go to Harvard. I was just being humble. Of course, I'm very proud of UNM, and I actually, in a way, feel like it's it's a privilege to get to be a UNM graduate, because I asked my friend who studied in Ohio University in the same Fulbright cohort as I was, and they didn't have this, sisterhood that we have. So see, if I didn't go to UNM, I wouldn't have met you guys. So it's a good thing that I went to UNM. So yeah, I'm very proud of being a UNM graduate, of course. Once a Lobo, always a Lobo.
Word. Also, I want to say that I don't know if this is unique to New Mexico or UNM, but our international community is badass. Like they're tight knit. Like that's basically how I know all these guys is I connected to the international family in my department and then I met everyone else that was basically doing all the amazing stuff on campus. So, advice to everyone, go find the international students at your university and it will change your life and you'll never regret it. Just saying. At this time, we are still on hashtag privilege matters. Opening the floor to anyone else.
Sorry, what is it again? Sorry.
Oh, it's privilege matters. We're finishing up privilege matters. I think Ashlee, you were gonna go?
Yeah. Yeah. I recognize my unique privilege as a Native American student every day and thinking about the opportunities that were kind of paved for me by by my parents and by the people around me who I've been fortunate enough to meet and help support me. And because of that, I feel like it's my responsibility as well to open those same doors and to give those opportunities to my peers. Working on doing a presentation when I get back from Korea on study that it is completely within their budget, their range to experience the world and to get new opportunities and social network beyond their borders and the borders that are created by reservations and by Western culture, because we're not often privy to the opportunities that we are literally we can get when we as Indigenous people. We usually go to university and keep our heads down, and we usually just try to get through and get our degrees and then go back home to our families. So I'm working on, my peers, people, the small group that I know now, and just letting them know that there is opportunity and it doesn't have to come out of your pocket. The school will pay for it. And there's a million and one different scholarships that are available to us that aren't just specifically Indigenous, but they're part of the school that they want you to study abroad. They want you to have those experiences because it looks good on them.
We should make a video. Like delineating the process you're doing. That is such valuable. Could we record your presentation?
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. If we can't do the actual one where you're doing it live with your peers, I mean, we could do a Zoom link like we are now, and we could do a live and also do a recording of it too. Or we can do, one just for public use. And that would be a great thing you can put on your CV. Family, we are also working on, each of us are experts in our own field. But my amazing sis Ashlee, what she's doing is she's not only role modeling her own experiences as a critical race theorist, booyah, but she's also creating a gold mine. I was reminded earlier this week that we need to also teach people how to do advocacy. So yes, sis, I mean, my wonderful warrior niece, we need to record you. Thank you. You're awesome. I'm sorry. I got too excited and I cut you off. Go ahead and continue.
No, that was that was pretty much all I had to say. Thank you.
That is awesome. You're so brave. And I'm also going to send you my list of K-dramas. Maybe you can, some Korean will rub off that way.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Opening it up real quick. And I actually have notes for this one, family. Okay, so I had an experience yesterday. It was the first day that I had been doing work all day. I actually talked for like 5 hours in a row yesterday. And this is my last 2 days of my cold. And then I had to go do errands. So I went to Macy's and I got popcorn and I came home. That was it. I had to go pick up some face stuff and I really wanted popcorn. I don't know. And I came home, but I had 4 like critical reflections on just what happened to me yesterday that had to do with privilege. So I wanted to run them by you guys. The first one, in my professional organization meeting, whew, so I am completely aware about my class privilege, my lightest privilege, my two-spirited, my identity, my confidence, like those are privileges, family. I'm beginning to see like some of my superhero powers is also privileges. But I said something and I feel like everything I say comes out as classist almost because of my positionality. And I'm trying to figure out what makes me sound like an ass and is completely from my own perspective and therefore out of touch with reality. So I have to check myself on that, right? So if you have privilege, especially class privilege, you have to figure out what your experience is every day versus everyone else who doesn't have that privilege that you were born with. I was born with class privilege. My partner and I are second generation college graduates. We're both Ivy League graduates. Our children, when they're born, will go to an Ivy League college because both of their parents went. That's inherited class privilege. So the training that I have to make one Dre Abeita is millions of dollars and 4 generations in the making. And a lot of my peers who enjoy those same privileges, we have a hard time dealing with the privilege sometimes. And then I have all of my global family who come from all walks of life who don't have the same access to resources, jobs, homes, and I put all that information together and I said something yesterday and I was trying to say, is it classist or what are the lines anymore adding COVID into the equation? So that's my privilege background. The context was in a student organization, when you run for a position, I said, it came out of my mouth, when I ran for the president of this organization, I fully expected to attend the annual conference. And I said, is that not an expectation? And as soon as that came out of my mouth, I was like, fuck, that is completely classist. And I don't know anymore. Pre-COVID, I thought that that would make sense. And now that I say it, it also makes sense to me because I'm operating in COVID reality, which means there's always a hybrid option. So in my world, when I say that, the context is you're in a position that is volunteer or elected. You're going to be comped to attend that conference because I'm a coyote and I'll make sure that you can attend whether or not you can pay for it. So in my head, I've solved all these issues of class, of access, because that's how I would do it as the president of an organization. But then when I say it out loud, knowing that we would bend over backwards to make sure each one of our students could participate, regardless if they could pay for it, I realize that that's not how organizations operate, first of all. And that it is incredibly classist, because in order to belong to professional organizations now, you have to basically be wealthy enough to afford it. So when I say the expectation of attending conferences, I am talking to people who have expendable income, because paying for professional fees, running for these offices. So for most of the organizations I've belonged to, I've had 38 different leadership positions in the last 5 years, family, over a variety of 8 different organizations that I pay fees to for a lot of them. Each one of those organizations says I have to pay the fee to be a leader in that organization. So even for me to have the privilege to run for something on my CV, to change the world, to keep championing my mission of individual policy changes that are humanizing, I have to pay for that. And I've been able to weaponize how I've been able to take a lot of my sisters and siblings to conferences is using UNM GPSA to fund a lot of our trips. They funded 6 of our trips. People got stipends, and we were sleeping 7 people in New York to a hotel room. So we have done extraordinary things to take our people to conferences, and had UNM pay for it because we were able to use the system to ask for money. So I apologize, family, when I say stuff. I realize that our past history of paying for things and being as inclusive as possible is extraordinary. So thank you, College of Education, Graduate Student Leadership Association, and Language Literacy and Social Cultural Studies Graduate Student Leadership Association, and Society of Native American Graduate Students and Undergraduate Students, and UNM GPSA, because you guys have funded and affected over, I could add all the numbers together, but I'd say over 30 people over the last 5 years to attend conferences. And that's what you can do with privilege. So how do we rethink that, family? How do people like me who take that for granted come to reality? And how do people who used to be able to afford it, but now due to medical bills, due to loss of job, loss of home, can no longer afford it to pay for those fees? Because the orgs still expect us to pay those fees. They're not giving us any discounts. And 3 years into COVID, they think everything's back to normal. So sorry, family, that was my long-winded graduate student organizations are too expensive. Anyone? Or was I the last one? I think I was the last one. Whew. But yeah, I don't know what to say anymore, family, as far as what's
That's
reasonable.
great. It's a great story.
Well, I want to know, how do we, sorry, family. I am having technical difficulties. There we go. Booyah. We are now on hashtag segment 4, hashtag whiteness, hashtag dear white family. Loving critical reflections from your friendly neighborhood and global superhero coyote family. So during this segment, family, we directly, literally talk to our white family and ask them for their help, for their guidance, for their reflection, for a call of action, kind of just depending on what we need. Rija, you want to get us started?
Yes, I'm gonna go first, and I think I'm gonna ask to step down because I really need to go to the doctor to bring my ultrasound result because it needs interpretation still, and I need some stuff. So, dear white family, um, I know it's not sometimes easy for you to hear people of color like us to tell about our struggles and to claim that we could do better, because sometimes if we do better than you guys, you are not that happy. I mean, hey, we don't have the opportunity. We have the same brain, but it's the opportunity that we don't have. It's the tools that we don't have that are not within our reach sometimes, as my sis Neri.
Rija, you cut out. You're muted. Give us one moment, family. Hey, sis, we can maybe hear you now. Rija? All right, family. Let me see if she comes back. In the meantime, Leah, would you like to go ahead and get started? This is our hashtag Dear White Family segment.
Okay, sure. Sorry. I think I would like to invite all the white families and friends all over the world to, how can I say this? Like to pay more attention to kids who, underprivileged kids all over the world who might, have bigger chance of getting more decent education and other or even professional opportunities with, if more maybe white people would like to donate like the little thing that that they have, even like I don't know, like your used clothes, your used books can help these kids a lot. So maybe if you're willing to to I don't know what, I don't want to say donate, like maybe contribute, anything helps, like literally anything. So even if something that you don't think, you might don't consider like as important, can help these kids a lot. So maybe if you if you give your used books or clothes to this, I'm sure there are a lot of organizations that are willing to take whatever you have and send them to these kids. That will be very amazing. And also, like, if you see people of color like anywhere, especially in your country, don't hesitate to avoid misunderstanding. Don't hesitate to ask them about their culture. It helps a lot to bridge misunderstanding that you might have about these people. And I personally, as an Asian lady who comes from Indonesia, and I'm sure that you a lot of people haven't met, like, there aren't as many Indonesians in the US as as they are maybe in Australia. So of course it's not very weird to have a question like, oh, where's Indonesia? It's understandable. But what I'm trying to say is that whenever you meet like people of color, or especially in Asian, for example, don't hesitate to ask about anything about their culture that you want to know. We will be happy to explain them. So I guess that's it.
Thank you, sis.
And of course, like, I'm sorry, one more thing I forgot to mention this. And since I'm a Muslim, it also helps to reduce the stereotype about that American people have about Muslim. And if you meet any hijabi, maybe whenever you go, it's always okay to ask them about how do you think about oh, what is that? Is this hijab? What is the purpose of wearing it? It's okay. That's fine. Just do not assume that we, want to, blow up places just because we wear hijab. That's not how it works. So it's always good to have a discussion, I guess, a friendly discussion about your curiosity. I think that's it. Over to Andrea.
Dear Y family, please, I use my lightness privilege. I use my class privilege. I use my educational privilege. I use every weapon in my arsenal, my lived experiences, my passion, my family. I literally beg my family to come support all of these efforts that we're making to try to change the world around us. Join us. Please join us and do not see us as competition. We are not your competition. We're literally your darker, lighter, in between brothers and sisters. We're just a little different. But at the end of the day, we want the same safety and security for our families. We want good paying jobs. We want hope. We want health care. We want food on the table. And we want to be able to have dreams for our children, like attending college, becoming doctors, lawyers, engineers, I don't know, YouTubers, whatever they would like, we would like to secure that dream in reality. Because the promises that were made, these eras of progression, right? The civil rights movement apparently solved everything for people of color in this country. But unfortunately, discrimination has only heightened. Trumpism, Obama's era, all of our political back and forthing has created an environment that's basically, I keep asking myself, what dystopian future did I wake up in? I have to debate in a college classroom what science and reality are. And that is a difficult position. So, dear white family, we are not your competition. We are simply your beloved siblings who are trying to fight for our families. Dear sis, you came back. Did you want to go ahead and say something before you left? You're
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. I got a very important phone call, and I had to pick it up. So I need to go, but I would like to tell my white family that we are working so hard. We try to make this, and if we do this, it's not that we don't deserve it, but I think it's about time for us to get the same our share, an equal share, I guess. So we are trying to work hard. We have the same brain, but different opportunities. So please understand us. Thank you so much. Okay, and
Bye,
I need to
sis.
go. Yeah, good night. Bye, Liah. Bye, Carolyn. Bye, Ashlee. Bye, Andrea.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye, Rija. Good night.
We're going to go ahead and go to the last segment, family, for our final thoughts as well as our pitch of the week. Actually, we're going to do that backwards. We're going to do pitch of the week real quick. Carolyn, why don't you give them our lowdown on our amazing community art events? And Liah, go ahead and do your pitch of the week.
Do you want me to go first?
Go ahead, Carolyn.
Okay, and so what am I doing now? I'm sorry.
Oh, give them the pitch for our community event.
So are you talking about when we do our art events?
Yes.
Okay, so we have had one very successful art event where we have people come to Dre's house and we do an art event. We each have our own canvas and access to acrylic paints, and we chat as we're doing our painting. And it's been a lot of fun. And we haven't had one recently, but we need to get started again.
Woohoo! Thank you so much, sis. We would love for you guys to join us. I know that the variants are up and running, but we make sure that everyone at our event has not had any recent contact. We try to make it as open and space as possible, and everyone is vaccinated and boosted that does attend the in-person event. So we are going to be starting that up again this month. Carolyn, seriously, let's figure out a date. We will be in touch, family, to let you know when our first event is. In addition to that, we are also going to be reviving Badass Woke Women on Wednesdays. Once a month, family, we gather on Zoom and we do our therapy together. It's basically a talking circle. We talk about our lives a little bit. It's much like this podcast, except we don't have topics. But it's a great way to connect with people, to have a little check-in every month, to do some art. My walls used to be covered with the different types of projects that we did every month. So please look forward to those 2 different events. The Badass Woke Woman Wednesdays for art therapy over Zoom. And if you are interested and are boosted and vaccinated, family, and have not been in recent contact, we would like to invite you for in-person events that we'll be hosting later this month. Liah, I'm going to go ahead and let you go with your amazing literacy pitch. What is your ask for our US/global audience?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I went to grab a bowl of water. Like, what is it we're doing now? Sorry.
The pitch. Pitch of your
the
week.
pitch. Yeah, okay. So I think I have mentioned this before. I went to one of the most isolated town in my hometown, and where in this town, the majority of the senior high school graduates, the girls, will soon be married, and that's, I think, is a big problem, because a lot of these kids do not have the enough knowledge about how to run a family, how to be a mother, how to be a wife, how to, blah blah blah, everything about being or getting married. But because of the traditions, they just follow the traditions, and of course their parents support as well. Their parents seem to think that getting married early is a very good decision. So I thought, or maybe the lack of literacy literacy behavior in this town might, one of the factors in this phenomena. So I decided to go there with some of my friends and distribute the books, and the kids are very excited about getting the books, even though some of them do not speak Indonesian, let alone English, right? I just give them, and it's very how do I say that? Like, it's very there's an amazing feeling when this to see the smiles in their faces. And I actually made a promise, and I don't know if that's a good thing. I actually made a promise to come back there to bring them more books, but I don't know, I'm still thinking about it. Anyway, uh I actually managed to talk to several of the parents in the neighboring house that I went to, and they are very excited about having me as an educator for their woman empowerment programs. So the head of the village has a woman empowerment program where they teach this woman to run a small business, like selling vegetables in their homes, or even like starting a gardening project and things like that, whatever, to help them more productive. And the head of the village asked me if I wanted to be one of the speakers in this event, and I said, sure, I'll be more than happy to to do that. But they're still working on fixing up everything, setting up everything with the program. But I think I'll be ready whenever they ask me. I think I'll just go. And the other thing that I would like to say is that some of the kids that are soon to be, some of the girls that have been graduated from senior high school decided to go to the university because I said, you should not consider about getting married now. It's not very good for you, blah blah blah. And you have to think about getting more education for yourself because why not, blah blah blah. And I said there's actually a scholarship given by the government. They don't even know that there's a specific scholarship given by the government for them. That's how common the early marriage is in their place, to the point that they don't even bother looking at what educational opportunities that they can actually have upon graduating from senior high school. So yeah, I think I'm very proud of, I felt very good for going there. If I don't go there, I don't know, maybe some of those girls have been married or whatever, I don't know. So yeah, does that answer the question, Andrea? Sorry.
It does, sis. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Family, I would just like to go ahead and put in our pitch for our Abeita Consulting Group. Please visit our website at abeitaconsulting.com. And I do have some very specific asks to help support our amazing sis Liah in Indonesia. First of all, family, I have all of those baby clothes in my garage. Our dream is to get those shipped freight to Indonesia so that she can actually create a business front that will provide local mothers with quality clothing, because our clothing in the United States, the secondhand clothing that we often find and take for granted, are actually very high quality products compared to other countries. And so our dream, family, is to get literal hundreds of pounds of baby clothes that are currently in this coyote's garage to Indonesia so she can start that business. Not only will it provide income for her family to help support her two amazing kids, and her partner would actually hopefully would help too as well. It would be a family effort. So any support you could have that would help us get those baby clothes to Indonesia, if you have any experience with shipping or know a way that we could do that wouldn't cost thousands of dollars, because that's what it literally is looking like at this point, family, which would defeat the purpose of us trying to help our sister literally start a new venture that can help provide for her family. In addition to that, family, does anyone have any computers, laptops, printers, cell phones, or electronic equipment and is currently in Indonesia? My amazing sister could really use an upgrade with technology that she could have access to help her not only do her work, her scholarship, supporting and changing the lives of young women in her community, literally single-handedly planning international book donations to support her communities. She really could use some support, family. And we'll be honest, our consulting group literally is a labor of love, and all of our consultants have been donating our time, and we have been making investments to support our family. But anyone in Indonesia who can lend us a hand with updated computer equipment, printing, laptops, or cell phones would greatly be appreciated. In addition to that, family, we will take general donations in order to support our cause. We thank you so much to all of our amazing superheroes from around the world who have contributed and shared their lived experiences with us tonight. And we are off to cause trouble somewhere else. This coyote thanks you, and we'll see you all soon.